So yeah, perfect. We're live. Hello everyone. Welcome to another workshop for the Hack AVS with OpenLayer, and we have Charlie from OpenLayer. Super stoked to have you, Charlie. And
Yeah, thank you.
just a
Thanks for having
little,
us.
just a little about the hackathon for everyone. We've had the workshop before this a couple weeks ago. So just a refresher. The hackathon is a combination of a lot of bounties with a lot of AVS partners, out of which one is OpenLayer, and OpenLayer's bounty is, all about integrating with OpenLayer's Oracle on Holsky testnet and request or use the provided commodity prices in the project, which is again, which Charlie will talk about better than me. But the hackathon has a total prize pool of 49.5K USD. Super excited to see what all the devs bring to the table. We only have 9 days left for the submission. So, again, this is a good time to put on your hacker caps on, roll your sleeves, and build. Yeah, but yeah, without me taking a lot of time, Charlie, I'll pass it on to you. Feel free to talk about, what are the expectations that you have from the devs for this hackathon, for this specific bounty, and maybe dive into the technical details of, the house.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Mishka, for the introduction. So today's agenda, I'll briefly go through a short intro about OpenLayer, and then talk about some of the ways that you can integrate with us, and maybe walk through a couple examples, including some code examples, or we can run some sample codes too, and then showcase how to use OpenLayer, and then I'll talk a bit about what we're looking for in this hackathon participation, right? So
Perfect.
without further
Yes.
ado, yeah,
Sounds good. Yeah.
great. So without further ado, I'll get started. So we are OpenLayer. We're building an authentic data layer powered by everyone. So we started OpenLayer because we saw that, for data in both Web 2 and Web 3, there's still a problem, right? Data is very fragmented. So for some of the data, you simply cannot access it as a developer. They're like protected behind the walled gardens of Web 2 companies. But even for those that are publicly available and publicly accessible, data is not really flowing freely today. So for example, as an on-chain developer, today you have maybe about hundreds of data feeds that are like hand curated and made available for you. And you can either develop on that or basically face an offline machine, and don't have access to anything that's off-chain. And for off-chain use cases, for off-chain developers, like data retrieving, bundling, and transferring is still basically a broker business, right? So it's lacking the efficiency, um, lacking the automation, and also it's built on a lot of trust. So we started OpenLayer, trying to basically be the new paradigm for data, and we want the platform to be decentralized, permissionless, and authentic. So by decentralized, we mean that we want everyone be able to come in and consume and contribute data. So like anyone at any device. And by permissionless, we mean we want any and all data sources to be able to be available on our platform, and you can basically create a new data feed easily. And by authentic, we mean that we want data passing through our platform to be real, like it's not like fake or made up by anyone. So as a developer, you don't have to worry about it or rely on trust to build anything. So when we talk about any and all data sources, we mean things that are publicly available on the web, like weather, sports, prices, whatever you can find on the internet. And also things that are like held privately inside users' personal accounts. For example, your Amazon shopping history, your Uber ride history, your Hilton membership levels, things like that. And then it could also be things that are self-reported from some secure sources. Basically, the platform wants to accommodate all kinds of data sources, data passing through the platform. And by making it open to everyone to contribute, we mean that we accept all kinds of devices and users, right? It could be larger validator nodes. It could be a user's browser. It could be their phones and tablets. So we want anyone to be able to come into the platform and contribute. We are missing a slide here, but when we talk about authentic, we also provide modular validation methods. And one of the first and major ways we're pushing out right now is a tested TLS connections using TLS notary. Basically, it's a way to make sure that when somebody's contributing data, we can verify they actually went to the data source, the claim data source, and fetch the data from the data source, and what they're reporting is what they are getting from the data source. And this eliminates a lot of the trust assumptions over having to have this honest majority and rely on social consensus, which takes a while too. So at the moment, our AVS is already launched on Eigenlayer mainnet. We are having a growing number of operators and stake assets. And our operation is live on Holisky mainnet and a couple other testnets too. So we will talk about this later. We're backed by some great investors and angels too, and we have also grants from major ecosystems for our underlying tech. So yeah, that's a brief intro about OpenLayer. So right now I'll start talking about how you can integrate with us, like what are the available functionalities today. So like we just talked about, one of the major ones is publicly available data on the web. So at the moment, we have curated some data sources like commodity prices, sports data. We also created a Powerball data, but we also provide the capability for people to customly define whatever they want to get. So maybe let's look through some examples here. Hopefully it's large enough. So by consuming the data on chain, you can go through this OpenLayer examples where we have a contract code and ABIs for our smart contract. And then you can basically initiate our data feed smart contract and then request a new report for the data type. And here, like the gold data type is type 1, and we have other things like soccer data is type 14, and then like Powerball data is type 16. And there's a list of data types available here that you can try out today. So we can actually walk through an example here. So here we are, I've already synced the repository OpenLayer examples and came into the JS example folder. And then we can just use node and call, let's use Bloom testnet, get a gold price. And you can see this is basically retrieving the latest report from on-chain right now, and we're getting 2,381. And if we want to request a new one, you can just use request gold price to create a new task. And usually gets back, Plume is pretty fast, usually gets back within a couple blocks. So you can see right now we have a new data within the same block that's retrieved from Plume. That's retrieved from a few sources, including CNBC, TradingView. And the underlying code here is just about initializing the smart contract. This is sorry. Let's go there. Initializing the smart contract, defining the task type, and request a new report. And then for getting the gold price, it's the same thing, initializing the contract and getting the latest round of data. And in the documentation, we also specify that there are some tasks with a simple data return. There are some tasks with a more rich return types. Let's take the Powerball data example. So this is the previous result from the Powerball API. And then we can see that it has the older data with last drawing 4 days ago. And now we want a new one. So we'll request Powerball results again. And if we get again, not yet. we get again, we'll see that the data has refreshed to the new one. That's the latest drawing from day before yesterday. So you can see from this result, we have 8 fields in this single result. So we can parse it and then based on the definition of this data type, you can know that this 5 fields are this 6 fields are the drawing results. This is the round number, and this is the date. So, like we said, we have this about 16 preset data types that you can use right now. But the good thing is you can also add your own data type if you find something interesting. So that's this capability right now only is in beta, and we've provided a sample script for you to add a new feed. But in the future, we'll also provide a user-friendly UI for you to add it without any coding needed to do. So at the moment, if you want to add a new feed, what you need to do is to get into this script and then define a few things. One is, where do you get the data? What is the URL for this API? For example, this one is this example is how I define the Powerful API. So I specify the URL to be this CA lottery API, and then I defined what were the path for getting those data. We can actually take a look at this API's result. So if you pre-print it, we'll find out that this API contains information about the round number, the draw number, the draw date, and all the winning numbers. So basically, the way we define it is we want this draw number. So we'll define most recent draw and draw number into this path, and then similarly, we'll define all the different fields that we want from this API. So we can actually walk through an example to maybe add another one, maybe Mega Million this time, and walk through how the process works. So I'll basically go to this page, click Draw Results, and I'll use the Developer Inspect mode to try to find out what is the API that's used to get this result. So I'll refresh the page. I'll find out that this is the API that actually returned all this result numbers, winning numbers. So I'll probably find out, okay, this is the URL. So I'll go ahead and paste it. Paste it into my code editor. Let me pull it down here so we can do it together. Add new feed type, and we'll say it's the most recent draw. Then replace this, and most likely the paths are going to be the same because it's from the same same API, same type of API, but we can still check. Let's pre-print it. I find that, okay, it's the most recent draw number, winning numbers, draw date. Okay, so it's the same. So we don't have to edit too much. And then we'll keep all the other things the same, and then run code. And now we have a new feed type, which is 18 for this. So now we'll change this code to, we'll just reuse this one just for the sake of simplicity. And we can run it. We can try to get it first. It'll likely return nothing. And now we can request again. And it's still getting it. And now we have the Mega Million data too. So yeah, that's kind of like an easy walkthrough of how you can define your own data feed within, I would say, 2 minutes. All right. So that's about public data feeds. And by the way, all the examples and guides through how to do this is inside our documentation page. If you go on to openlayer.tech, you'll be able to find the docs link, and then you'll be able to find our Gitbook. And under the section for developers, you can find how to do this altogether. Right. So maybe let's walk through. Similarly, we also provide verifiable randomness using the same underlying network of nodes. So the good thing about our verifiable randomness is it's more random basically, because it also apart from depending on the random seed and a private key, we also have a random number of operators joining every time. We also have a really decentralized secret because every operator is holding their own BLS private key, and verifiable randomness is based on their signature aggregation. And also because of it's based on BL's signature aggregation, it has a very fast execution. So the usage of a verifiable randomness is very similar to how we use the public data streams. It's also just loading this smart contract, and then just request for a new one with your own VRF seed. I don't think we need to go through the example here now again, but the way of integrating is very similar. It's also inside this example project, where you can just pass in your VRF seed here, and then request for the contract to create a new task, and then get it in return. Cool. Oops. Oh, and then the third way of integrating with us is by doing the privately held personal data inside a user's accounts. So here, maybe let's use a demo to walk through this. It might be easier. We have provided two demos for you. One is proving that you are a Coinbase user and your country of residence. And another demo is about proving the last payment you made on Revolut. So you can already try it out today on demo.openlayer.tech. So we'll just walk through this. So basically, this simple web app is an example web app we built to say that we can drop some tokens to this user, but before you can claim the token, you have to prove that you have an active Coinbase account, and also your country of residence is within some range. In this case, let's just say you are inside US, which is normally not the case, but we can just use it as proof of concept. So using the OpenLayer SDK, so the web app integrated with the OpenLayer SDK, and then whenever the user claims login Coinbase and claim drop, they will be redirected to Coinbase and log in there. In this case, we have already logged in, so the app comes back and started to generate a proof that the user has a Coinbase account and their country of residence is within the US. So this is using the underlying TLS notary technology already. Underlying, we have a notary server on the side that's attesting to the TLS connection between this browser and the Coinbase server. So we will talk about how to build your own application with this a bit later. But right now, if you go on to this this URL, you will be able to use this example yourself and proving your own Coinbase account. There won't be any drop tokens being claimed. It's just an example. Okay. But with slower internet, it's going to be a bit taking a bit of time, maybe around a minute or so. But with faster internet, it can be done within 15 seconds. Yeah, as we can see, now the proof is generated and it was sent to the backend. And the backend has a verifier server that also used a OpenLayer server-side SDK to basically validate the information being sent to the backend. And these are all the information that the user exposed to this application. Just only that their country of residence is the US, their phone number is verified, there is a randomized phone ID, and they have retail product access. So the way of integrating with this, let's just look at how this was implemented on the code too. So the way to implement with this is, as a developer, you need to know which server do you want to get users' information from. In this case, it's accounts.coinbase.com. And you also need to know which API do you want the data from. In this case, we want this API v1 user, which contains a bunch of information. Basically a lot of information, more than what we just showed just now. But you don't want to be too intrusive to your users, so you have to define which fields are the ones that you are interested in. Similarly to how you were defining the data source for public data types. Here we wanted to know country code, their phone numbers, country, whether their phone numbers verified, residence address, country code, things like that. And you also need to know how to get authentication methods for this URL. In this case, we are basically redirecting the user to their accounts.coinbase.com profile page. And if they didn't log in, they have to log in there. And once they log in, that page will load this URL automatically. And then from this URL, you will be able to get all this authentication tokens that's required to generate this proof. But during all this process, all these credentials, authentication tokens, they'll only stay on user's device. So no one else will be able to access it, but then we can use it on the client side to generate a proof. So yeah, you can check it out by get to this repository, or also get onto our documentation, and we have all these pointers to the code here as well. And we also have instructions over how to use different SDKs to build on top of it. Yeah, I think that's kind of like a basic walkthrough of all the 3 types of integrations that can be done on top of our platform. And what we're looking for this hackathon, really like novel ways of using these things. And so basically for public data streams, we have these preset data types. Using them, integrating with them is a good way, but also defining your own data types and use them to build really novel applications is what we're looking for too. And then for user personal data proving, you can also either just use these 2 examples we have here, or come up with your own. But if you do come up with your own, make sure that you contact us, because it's still in beta stage. Contact us and have us whitelist your thing to be available on this proving site, or in your own website. Also, just to note, for both public data streams and VRF, we have things available on Holistic Testnet, Plume Testnet, and Camp Testnet. So you can integrate either of them to qualify for the Hackathon Award. So yeah, that's a brief intro. Let's see if we have any questions or any discussion topics.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Yeah, super quick and refreshing. But yeah, seems like we do not have any questions for now. But for everyone watching, we have dropped the Discord and Telegram links for OpenLayer. And we've also dropped the link for the Gitbook for developers. So feel free to go on there. Feel free to go on the Discord, talk to the team if you have any questions. If you have any query about the bounty, if you have any technical query, feel free to go over there. Maybe find other developers to build with in groups. And again, I think OpenLayer Discord would be the best place for you to go. Feel free to also watch this workshop. Just rewind it, watch it at your own pace later. It will be available on YouTube and the workshop page of the hackathon page on DoraHacks. But yeah, No questions for now, Charlie. But yeah,
Mhm.
again, like I said, feel free to go on the Telegram and Discord. Um,
All right.
Perfect. Yeah, if that was it, I think this like I said, this workshop would be up on YouTube, Binance Live, and the workshop page. So feel free to rewind it and watch it again. 9 days left for the submission. So again, gear up and good luck everyone who's building in this hackathon and
Good luck.
participating in OpenLayer Bounty.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Charlie.
Mhm.
Thanks everyone
Thanks.
for tuning in. Bye bye.
Mhm. Bye.